Now that is the Vauxhall Corsa GSE Vision Gran Turismo concept, and I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about it. This is giving us a really good look at the next generation Corsa. Now we'll go into a bit of that in a bit, but let's have a look first at some of this car's details because it is suitably wild. So first of all, this is a small electric hot hatch, but it is four-wheel drive. It has two motors and a battery pack and about 800 horsepower and 800 Newton meters of torque. Now, of course, this is all theoretical, but it's something that you'll be able to experience in the game of Gran Turismo if you have it. What's more exciting, however, is really the design. So let's walk you through a couple of the bits that I think are going to be really important for future Vauxhall models. So looking here at the front, we have that same sort of visor graphic. However, now, as you can see, it has a line in the middle that meets up with the Vauxhall badge. Now that is the compass design signature. Now that is something that is already on the back of a lot of contemporary Vauxhalls and also kind of on the front in the bodywork. But here we're seeing a sort of new version of it and it looks really cool. Also something to notice is that this visor is also body colored now. Now it's still kind of behind plexiglass, that is the same as before, but it points towards the fact that Vauxhall seem to be really interested in continuing to sort of evolve those design languages. Now wheel spats, these are really cool. These actually sit outside and they do all sorts of really clever things with the aero. You can kind of see there's intakes on the side there and off the back. And what they do is, yes, we've sort of seen this on a Mini GP3 before and also a Ferrari F80 if we're being honest. But here, because it's a different color to the rest of the bodywork, it kind of makes it look a little less sort of front heavy somehow. And I think that's a really cool look. Looking up the side, this car obviously is a three-door. This is unlikely for any sort of future Corsa, but if we kind of look at the car in silhouette, that gives us a sort of broad idea of maybe what to expect with the future generation Super Mini. So things like this line that runs up towards the back and also the slight kink here in the window. It's also really interesting to see that they've made the roof black and that it contrasts quite deeply with the white, and that is also something we kind of expect to see in future. But I think some of the coolest bits of this car are around the back. I mean, just look at it. I look at this and I think sort of Delta S full rally car, like the Lancia, or something really aggressive, a race car style, and that's really no bad thing. So let's have a quick look. First of all, if you look on the roof, you can see that the wing is kind of in one massive triangular panel, and also the diffuser around the back is a contrasting color. These, in the concept anyway, do something really cool. So one of the big issues with small cars and aero is that they're not particularly aero efficient, but this concept has a diffuser and a wing that move outwards to virtually lengthen the car and give it better aerodynamic qualities. And what's really cool is if we go here, you can actually see it's the whole triangle on the roof that has sort of moved back to give you that kind of delta wing or Naka duct style look. It is super funky. And whilst we're here, just looking quickly, the wing itself on the concept is made of perspex, which means that it's kind of got a glass-like look. That is really cool. And then looking at the back, as you can see here, we've got a sort of really aggressive, glassy look. There's no body color here on the back at all. And I have a slight suspicion this is also something that we might well see in future products, including the new Corsa. So what to look at here? We've got another compass motif here with the vertical and horizontal lines, as well as an illuminated badge, and a really sort of integrated, nice piece of sort of perspex or glass on the back that makes up pretty much most of the tailgate. Of course, the production car isn't going to look like this, but if you take away some of the sort of concept car flourishes, some of the width, I essentially think this is pretty close to what we'll see in a couple of years' time on the new Corsa. That is super cool. Okay, one area where this concept doesn't really have a huge amount to do with what we might see in a couple of years' time is the inside. Pure concept car fantasy, but isn't it so cool? We've got this sort of yoke that sits here in front of you, and as you can see here, the pedals are kind of moving towards me because the bucket seat is fixed. As we can see, we've got here a rocket button. Now that, I've been told, is essentially a push to pass, so it gives you maximum performance from the electric motors. The first thing that you might have noticed is that the dashboard is very clean and without much sort of screens or anything like that, and that's because the fabric is backlit with all of these displays. So this gives you things that you're sort of not needing to know specifics of, but just little bits and pieces that let you know whether there's a car coming near you, something like that. And the idea is that this works with a head-up display. It's a new way of integrating lots and lots of information in a really malleable way. Now, I was just talking to Vauxhall's head of design, and he was talking to me all about how important simplicity and reduction of complexity is with modern cars, and I think that's really obvious here. How this is applied in future, we'll have to see. A couple of little Easter eggs that we love are some of these shark motifs that you can see are kind of hidden away in various aspects of the car. That's really cool. And other aspects that I think from a sort of conceptual perspective we won't see in a production car, but maybe in a slight integration, things like these crosshatch compass-like motifs that are on other places. Now, there's a million ways to design a seat, but this one is really cool because the base is obviously fixed placed into the chassis. That's pretty cool. But the upper section is actually completely disconnected, as you can see here, from the bottom. So it makes a really cool statement. Just a really quick one, whilst I have you here, do remember that you can actually buy and sell your car at autoexpress.co.uk. So if that's something that you want to do, make sure you click the link in the description below. Okay, technical details are limited, but I do have some, and that is this car theoretically runs on a new platform, which is called Stella Small, and that is what the next generation Corsa will actually run on in real life. Also, cars like the Peugeot 208, which is coming next year. In terms of those electric motors, as we said, there's 800 combined horsepower from 2 motors, one on the front and one on the back, and there's also 800 newton meters of torque, and it gets to 62 miles an hour in about 2 seconds, which is a bit of concept fodder, but a bit of fun nonetheless. It's also quite a lightweight electric concept at about 1.17 tons, which is very interesting. Now, it is very likely that a Corsa GSE will be coming in future, and no, it probably won't be as aggressive as this, but it does give us a great insight of the fact that Vauxhalls in the future might become a lot more interesting.